Hello, and welcome back to Pathfinder Kingmaker. I'm Chancellor Sinners Ross. In the last episode, um, call it? What's the thing called? We did the thing. We fought with Tartuccio's men, recruited Jaethal under his nose, killed some kobolds, and then fought some bandits. Well, we didn't even fight the bandits. We just told them, "Hey, take a walk," and they're like, "You know what? We will take a walk." So right now we have Kavkin, which we saved from said bandits, and as I mentioned, we have Jaethal in our party now.
How may I serve you?
What services do you offer? I could sell you various divine spell scrolls. They're quite useful, even if you don't have anyone in the party who could read them while you're in the settlement, or indeed any place with a cleric willing to help. You only need to open your bag and choose the scroll you wish to cast. I'm happy to read it for you. However, take care out there in the wilderness. The scroll is useless without someone who could read it. To use the scroll on your journeys, you need a spellcaster whose magical training covers such spells, or someone skilled in magical devices. Tell me the visions that led you to the Temple of Elk.
That's why I'm here.
What do you want from me?
Find the Temple of the Elk. I've pieced together its location from what I can remember of my visions. I have a rough idea of where to look for the sanctuary, somewhere in the North Nile marshes. However, I don't possess the strength to walk this path myself. Do not reject my plea, good traveler, and I'll repay you as best I can. In these dark times, people rarely help each other without compensation. May Erastil forgive us all. But I am sure my healing abilities will be useful to you.
Oh wow, the end of dialogue.
How may I serve you?
Tell me about the
That's why
vision.
I'm here.
Why do you need to find this temple?
What is there to understand? The gods do not send us visions for no reason. We must go to the temple. Then I believe we shall discover the true meaning and wisdom of Erastil's will.
That's enough about this for now.
As you wish.
Tell me about yourself, Jhod.
What exactly would you like to know?
Tell me about your past.
My story? Why not? You deserve to know it. I am a priest of Erastil, and Galt is my homeland. You can imagine
you
what
mentioned
it's
that
like
prior.
following the teachings of the Stag God in a realm torn by discord and strife. Rebellion and suspicion are the pillars of Galt. Led by Erastil, I tried to guide my flock to embrace tranquility and balance and guard them from hasty judgment, until I fell from grace myself. Foolish, foolish old Jhod. My misdeeds cast a shadow over my life and service. In search of redemption and a balm for my soul, I took to the road. I had come nearly to despair when Erastil sent me a vision of the Temple of the Elk. I knew that very moment that the Stag God had shown me the way to redemption.
What did you do to anger Erastil?
Well, if you truly wish to know, I'll have to start from the long time back. Werewolves preyed upon the lands around my village. They murdered people for fun or sport and left the corpses to rot on the roads. One night, they broke into a young woman's house and dragged her into the streets. One evening, a traveler came to our tavern, tattered and dirty from days on the road, like so many others roaming Galt. He sat quietly in the corner of the tavern, drinking cheap ale, and in an instant, I knew he was a werewolf. I felt it in my soul. It was like Erastil himself had whispered it into my ear.
Jhod smiles, but his eyes are dead as stones.
Led by Providence, I left to gather my flock, and we surrounded the tavern. The retribution was swift. However, I was tragically mistaken. The young man was no werewolf. He was a bandit, sent to spy on the village by one of the local gangs. We only found out after, when we went through his things.
Still, you saved a village from another danger, did you not?
That's still no excuse for my actions. I was a fool. I made a grave mistake. And what's worse, in the eyes of my flock, I cast doubt on Erastil's greatness. A priest who can barely hear the voice of his god is a disgrace to his lord and himself. and corrupts the very people he would save.
Hmm.
Whatever the case, I knew Erastil was no longer pleased with me. It was terrifying.
Jhod's voice wavers even now. One can glimpse inside him the remnants of the horror he lived through.
Imagine how my mind raced when here in the Stolen Lands I heard the voice of the Stag God once again. He gave me another chance at service to atone for my guilt. Now I have regained hope, and that very hope is my most precious possession.
Well, you can tell me about your homeland, Galt.
For some, it is a land of freedom, where power belongs to the people, not to lords or kings. For others, it's a land of never-ending revolution, a realm surrendered to anarchy. It depends on who you ask. For me, I found Galt a violent place. Crowds eager to lynch a stranger for that accent or appearance, where a single word uttered at the wrong time or place can spark the people to riot and cities to burn. For me, it is a place inhabited by the frightened and the desperate, always suspicious, watchful of trickery. All too often they are deaf to the voice of reason. They cannot grasp that chaos and lawlessness lead only to yet more chaos and lawlessness. All my life I've tried to break through to these poor people, but alas, I don't seem to have made much progress.
Jhod is visibly upset and grows silent for a while. That's enough for now.
As you wish.
Tell me about Aristil.
Of course, it would be my pleasure. Erastil is one of the
Erastil.
eldest gods of Golarion. His faith emerged when the first people appeared upon the land. Erastil helped our ancestors cultivate the land and hunt. Even now, his blessing lies with those who uphold the old traditions and keep to simpler ways, far from civilization and the noise of the city.
Wait a moment. Cities have their strengths as well, don't they? Civilizations foster science, trade, and invention. And in that, it often improves life for all of us.
Tell that to the peasant robbed of all he owns, spending his night in the gutter, hoping to live to see the sunrise. You won't see such things in a village.
Well, you do have a point. Indeed, cities can be places of evil and wrongdoing.
I'm glad to hear you agree. These days, many are deaf to the wisdom of generations.
What does Erastil demand from his faithful?
The word demand does not befit the Stag God. Honesty and friendship, loving families, merry weddings, and newborn children in their mother's arms, they bring a smile to Erastil's face. He loves his people and rewards them with fortunate hunts and plentiful harvests. But he has no temper for sloth and vanity. He never bestows gifts upon his faithful without first measuring their worthiness. We ourselves must win our daily bread, but the Stag God comes to our aid in times of need and strife.
I've always had respect for Erastil and his priests.
I see it more clearly every day. Erastil himself led me to meet you. Your keen spirit will serve you well.
I guess that was like a choice. I thought it would. Never mind. Does it have more options?
The word demand.
Oh yeah. I guess that was the choice.
To help.
Thank you for the story. Maybe speak more later. Farewell. Now let's talk to Jaethal. Jaethal greets you with a nod. Speak. I'd like to hear your story. Stories, Jaethal shrugs. Stories are boring and a waste of time. I have killed. I was exiled from Kinonin. I died. I was raised by Orgatha's gift. That is my story. Who were you before your exile? It's rather amusing. I belonged to a wealthy family and held a high position on the courts of Irdara, the capital of Kionin, when my in the courts of the capital of Conan. When my little wrongdoings were revealed, trial was held in the same court where I tried cases and delivered sentences over several hundred years. An awkward situation, don't you think? Who killed you and why? Family. 4. Jathal's voice is calm and ordinary as she's speaking something trivial. But why is the more interesting question. What is worth 1,000 years if you can't? What is the worth of 1,000 years if you can't enjoy it like your first 10 dozen springs? The elf's voice sounds unusually vehement. Everyone considers elves younger years, but their usefulness is a mask, threadbare ritual gown. What lies underneath? The dust of years, jaded repetition. With each year, the dust grows thicker, and erstwhile joys cease to excite and cloy as the dish you taste and excite and cloy as a dish you tasted 1,000 times. Long did I search for a way to avert this fate. Don't I, who has truly tasted life, deserve a better lot than those benumbered old elves who choose to close themselves from the world or to the world? And I found a way in an ancient text of Gotha, sorry, a ritual involving the blood of my kin, a trifle that would make each day feel as a holiday created specially for me. The ritual gave strength not only to my body, but to my mind and my soul. And my mind whirled at every sensation, each sip of wine or silken caress. Oh, how I miss this. My cousin was the first I used for a ritual. It was a simple matter to pass her death as an unfortunate accident. The enchantment won't last. I had to find another and conceal my trail. With the third death, my family grew suspicious, and upon the fourth, my deeds were finally revealed. Such a pity. If not for this, my own life even now would overflow with the burning pleasure. For I have dozens of useless relatives. Did you kill innocent elves for entertainment and pleasure? That's abominable. Yes, I have, Jaethal shrugs. Use whatever high-sounding words you wish to describe my deeds. Say abominable if it suits you. Reasonable and honest would fit just well. Do you have family in Kyonin? Anyone who's dear to you? Do you mean I have someone I would hesitate to sacrifice? Perhaps my daughter. I regret the wasted effort. The creature turned out quite well, like a properly trained dog or a well-managed horse. Is exile your only punishment for murder? For an elf, Jaethal said pointedly, exile is a serious punishment. There are no other Kyonin in this world. Even I, who despise its hypocrisy, just must admit as much. How did you die, and what happened after? Jaethal frowns. I don't remember my death. I was stunned by the sentence of exile, and I admit I showed weakness. I wandered aimlessly, absorbed in despair, without concern for my safety or subsistence. And then I remembered desolate rocks, a stone I lay upon, convulsion passing not through my whole body but through my soul. Then I awakened, cold, calm, my body overwhelmed with strength but haunted by strange internal silence. There were bloody prints of bone feet on the stone next to me, the sign of the goddess. A battle scythe lay nearby. It was the first and last time I heard Gotha's voice. She spoke but 3 words. Hail the Inquisitor. That is all. She never addressed me nor answered my pleas ever since. I'm not bothering you with the story of how I tried to comprehend my new condition. Soon I had a chance to put my new powers to the test. A group of my kin had tracked me through the woods, and they were insolent. They would pay dearly for this, but I had to reckon how I might free myself from their persistent chase. A powerful protector from among the short-lived could help me. The Storm Lord seems suitable. That is all. Tell me about your birthplace. I hope you do not ask from idle curiosity. Yonin is the birthplace of the elves. The other races are allowed to visit within reasonable limits, usually only as far as Green Gold. It is an enclave for half-breeds and the short-lived, a whim of our queen. I enjoyed going there sometimes, as to a wild beast show, beyond from this catacore of a city. Yonin is a mixture of grandeur and sad remains of ancient glory. Next to today's graceful dwellings lies the ruins of ancient monuments and fountains. Elves prefer to live in small groups, in secluded settlements. The most outgoing and ambitious live in the capital, Idaraj. Daily life is filled with efforts of 100-year-old infants seeking worthy goals, and 1,000-year-old stony cynics entertaining themselves however as they can. That is all. It's scarcely worth mentioning that even this gloom is far more tempting than one finds in the lands of the short-lived. I've talked about your past. As you wish. What's it like to be undead? Do you wish to know what that means to me personally, or what powers and limitations it poses? Do you regret not being alive anymore? Shadow passes over Jaethal's face. She doesn't know how to ask questions. Says nothing for a long time. Two desires led me through life: to feel pleasure time and time again, and to achieve perfection. Unlife brought me closer to the second. I'm changeless, torn from time, the chaos of the world. Even the soul circle have no power over me, but everything comes at a price. Most things that brought me pleasure in life are now meaningless to me now. How do I decide which is better? There's no purpose in living only for yourself. It makes life and unlife equally senseless. Agreed. Jaethal yawns pointedly. How do healing spells and prayers and potions affect you? Dreadfully, of course. Your healers better stay away from me in battle. The undead are healed through interaction with negative energy. I could preferably manage that on my own. You don't need sleep, right? I'm spared from that bothersome need, but I hope you do not take this reason to invent additional responsibilities to entertain me during the night. Spend this time meditating and addressing the goddess. What about carnal pleasures? A tactless and phallus, facile? Facile? A tactless and facile question. That pleasure is now as senseless to me as food or wine. Action without feeling. Jaethal cringes. Thank you. I have no more questions about this. Apparently not. Tell me about your goddess. It might sound strange, but I know less than the others about Urgotha and her faith. My transformation into her inquisitor was unexpected, but I will answer to the best of my knowledge. I'm just going to use this because I don't know if it disappears after the first time. Knowledge world check. Why is the cult of Urgotha forbidden in much of Golarion? Because Golarion is plagued with narrow-minded cowards. Some tremble at the freedom granted by Urgotha, others fear the wrath of Pharasma. Fuck, I don't know. They're priests. What do you know about Urgotha herself? Well, certainly Urgotha is once a mortal woman, basking in life and all the pleasures it had to offer. Her passion was so strong that Urgotha rebelled against Pharasma, against death itself and its laws. After her own death, she escaped the power of the Lady of the Graves and returned to the world as a goddess, and the first undead. Since then, she has protected all who submit their souls to pleasure and passion, paying no heed to worn-out morals and dictative laws. What does it mean to be an Inquisitor of Urgotha? The question is more complicated than it seems. An Inquisitor is by nature the most zealous defender of their faith. The hand of their goddess is mundane affairs. In mundane affairs, when I received the title and power, I expected Urgotha would tell me my mission, but this never happened. Golarion remains silent, and there's only one reasonable explanation I can imagine. Discovering what's expected of me is part of my mission. To reflect on this and make my prayers and wait for a sign. Why does Urgotha feud with the other gods? Not Urgotha, but Pharasma tries to call her to order and serenade to heal her. Jaethal laughs at the absurdity. What does Urgotha require of her followers? To enjoy and taste exquisite dishes, to feel a lover's caress, to drink enemies' suffering. A wonderful religious obligation, isn't it? Enough of this now. As you wish. Conversation is truly a waste of time. What made you follow me? Curiosity. The need for a reliable ally. You see, I come to understand what my goddess seeks from me. Urgotha gave me the powers of an inquisitor without declaring her will to me. I await her reply, any hint or trace or clue. And I suppose our meeting was no mere accident. Besides, Jaethal cringes. I imagine that several Keonan assassins will pursue me, and they never risk attacking me while I was under the patronage of the Eldori. And they're unlikely to attack while I have reliable allies like you. Why do the assassins follow you? I don't know. They can't have been sent by the queen. I'm branded outlaw, but my punishment was exile. It's not custom for elves to contravene their own verdicts. My attackers shouted something about threat and blood. I suppose they're a splinter group from feeble-minded zealots, or something. Someone on a quest for personal revenge. Thank you for the conversation. Farewell. Interesting. She actually has a very changeable mindset. Like, out of all the characters, like, you could actually convince her that, like, being evil isn't actually is what it's cracked up to be. She's like, you know what? You're right. She's also the only undead companion, so having her as a companion is both a benefit and a boon, negative, because one, she's immune to all the things that undead are immune to, which is a decent list, but at the same time, you can't heal them with conventional means, so you have to use, like, negative potion, negative inflict wounds to cure her. She has it on her own thing. By the way, that's a resource.
I'm tired.
That only really becomes a thing we need to pay attention to when we get our veterinary.
Your sword is so amazing. I could never have imagined someone wielding such a huge blade.
Right? I took it from a frost giant as a trophy. I slaughtered so many of them giants with it. Now when they hear my name, they shit their pants.
Alright, it was actually a hearty meal. It means we rolled pretty decent on that check. Alright, let's into the abandoned hut. Some bonuses usually don't stack with each other. Example, if you have 2 enhancement bonus to dexterity, only one of them, usually the highest, will be affected. I don't know what the last thing said. It disappeared before I could read it. You hear, please follow me. Am I at a medium? No, I'm still at light. Why did I have the first? You assume it would be Valerie having the first exhaustion. We're still at medium load too. Probably. Oh yeah, it's probably all this. Yeah, got to drop off some of it. 10 pounds per. Oh man, we really need that bag of holding. Please, Father, I looked for herbs you asked me to, but there weren't enough to... Silence, did you forget the rules? You speak when I say, you do as I say. Disobedience leads to punishment. But Father, 3 times. I didn't catch what that... Enough, I can't, enough. What does it say? Disobedience leads to punishment, and you have disobeyed twice. Interesting. Nergath, Nugra, and Uith. Staircase is decayed, collapsed a long time ago, cannot be climbed. And wooden racks long ago used for driving herbs. Hey, a duck.
That is not far.
Quack, quack.
Enemy approaching. This should do it.
Aw, shit, I got the trick. Oh, I didn't Mary get hit. I'll just drink potions. Okay. Skin. Ta-da. Some treasure here. A note. Nurgrass old notes. In early spring, Willow's leaves are the same color as her eyes. His too. I barely hold myself from burning them out with acid. It is his fault, despicable, weak. Not for him, she would still be alive. Does not talk to me, looks away, plans something I know I have to gather. Forest herbs, make a hiding place, hide my charms. He's a coward, but he can steal and run away. I will punch it out of him. Everything hurts, I could barely walk. How could he? How? He would never bring himself to confront me on his own. He says his name is now the Stag Lord. says he will not let me die or let me go. He says I should not be calling him my son like I ever did. He told me to pack my things. We are leaving soon. Now that he has his people and his own fortress, I'm hiding my charms in the herbs cache. Probably should not. I will not be able to escape. He will not let me. The herbs
As it should be.
cache, which grow well.
Interesting.
Was it? That was the herbs. No, that was an herbs cache. Charm in the herbs cache. I should find a way to hide in the church. I have to gather forest herbs and make a hiding place, hide my charms. Where have you been? I told you to prepare everything for the ritual. You'll never give me orders again. What? Then, well then, summon your power. Maybe you'd like to try acid. I'm no longer a slave, your slave any longer. Not your toy. Not your son. Enough. I won't kill you. Your powers will be used to me. From now on, you will do as I say. When you speak, I speak. Disobedience will be punishable or something. Leads to punishment always. So, the herbs cache. I assume this is... It's a ring.
Anything else?
Masterwork. Those will sell for some pennies. I
have been waiting for you. The flowers, birds, and wind told me you would come. Oh, my poor flowers. They will perish before long in this bog.
It seems only you could see or hear the nymph.
Ooh, mysterious talk with nobody.
Tell me what to do next.
Search the area around the hut. Try to find anything that remained of the druid who lived here. I am sure the fog is his doing. This suffocating veil is as vicious as his nature. We should learn more about the fog and the ritual through which it was created. Return to me if you find anything. The past may hide the answers that shape the future.
Tell me about yourself. I would like to know more about my ally.
Do you really wish to know? Fine. I'll tell you a fairy tale. Once upon a time, there lived a young nymph. She lived in an enchanted forest, where 1,000 birds sung day and night, where the sun often left a spark or two hanging in the tree crowns, and where the starlight fell on sleepy glades like a glowing soft haze. The young nymph loved simple things, like sitting by the stream with her friends, braiding each other's hair and adorning their braids with crystals made of dew, or watching the flowers blooming. But inside her soul, the young nymph dreamed of something more. Oh, dreams. Nothing in any world can live without them. Even a seed that falls in fertile soil cannot sprout without the dream of the sun. The same was true for our nymph. She wished to turn her enchanted forest into a true fairy tale kingdom and fill it with thousands of wonders. But plans so ambitious rarely go unnoticed by greater powers. Those greater powers decided to punish the nymph for her boldness. They sent a horrible monster to poison the enchanted forest and kill the singing birds. The nymph was forced to flee, and finally she found shelter here
in the stolen lands. Here she hoped to sprout the seeds of a new dream, even as she mourned the dream she'd lost. But then a magic mist appeared, killing everything that lived. And the nymph cast about, desperately searching for help. So far, these are the fairy tale's final words. But I hope this is not the end just yet.
Would you be willing to share the details of your story about these evil powers, the enchanted forest, the monster?
One day, perhaps. Perhaps I will tell you more. But it doesn't matter now. We need to concentrate on the problems at our doorstep. The Stag Lord, the druid, the mist.
I had a strange vision, a young man, an old druid, who tortured him, and then he exchanged roles.
Yes, yes. The soil, water, and stones here are infused with toxic pain and fear. They poison this place as we speak. You have seen where your enemy's journey began. The one called Stag Lord was once the victim of a cruel madman, and has since become one himself.
Usually how it happens.
Now how monsters are born. But what comes of regret for a thing you cannot change? There is no time to be lost. We must do away with the fog quickly.
I'll return later. Farewell.
I will be waiting.
What a find!
What a find. I don't see any herb
In due time.
stash.
This requires your attention.
A note. Went to the old Temple of Elk again today. Wicked, gloomy place, just like my soul. Used to shine once, and is hollow and terrible now. He spy on me? Maybe I should lock him up. No, let him be. What can he do? He's a useless coward. Just whimper and hide. Ghost.
You come again. Did you find something?
On the druid's notes, they mention a temple of the elk. Can this help us?
An ancient temple. The temple of the stag god. Yes, yes, that must be it. The place of power where the druid created the fog. Perhaps we'll be able to cleanse it from there. The temple hides in the thicket not far from here. You'll need to go there and purge the place of whatever evil still lingers there, summoned by the druid's sinister ritual. Take care. You are my only hope.
I have a clear goal now. I'll continue my journey. Stone altar is decorated with eroding foliage and patterns and symbols of the green faith.
All according to plan.
To victory!
This wolf is pretty hardy. I mean, we're all pretty hardy ourselves, so. I don't know, it's just. Ground in your chest covered with culinary herbs they dried out long ago.
Follow my lead.
There's supposed to be like a charm. Is this it? No? I've never actually read that note because I just figured it was not important. This looks like a stash for the herbs kind of thing, but doesn't seem like anything. Maybe I need a high perception for it or something.